Hello, welcome to today's Logic Pro Quick Tip. We are doing it slightly different with an introduction with some slides. So this is all about collaboration using WAVs. So if you're working with other people, if you are in different doors, this can be a bit tricky, but if you stick to a process using WAV files, it means everyone expects and gets the same files to work with. If this is your sort of thing, don't forget like and subscribe is always appreciated. But let's just go through some decisions you need to make with your collaborators to start with. So this is titled a Logic Pro Quick Tip, but if you're working with somebody else in a different door, doesn't matter. You follow the same method. So the decisions you need to make so the WAVs are transferable are your sample rate needs to be the same. At the moment in 2024, 48K is pretty much a standard. If you've been requested a different sample rate from a library, obviously change to that. You also need to agree your BPM, because when you're dragging these WAV files in, they're going to sit on the timeline, and similarly you need to agree the time signature, so that is set correctly and everything will line up nicely, and also the starting bar. You want this to be an exact start number, so the start of bar 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want it 3/4 the way through bar 1. It's just going to make things harder to work with. So once you've made those decisions, save them somewhere, communicate them to your collaborators so that everybody knows where they are. Here are some considerations to take into account. You don't want to have tempo changes during your queue or time signature changes, because that's going to mess up how somebody else sees it. Now, I've put an unless at the bottom there. If you are using the same door, what you could do is share the project file with tempo and time signature changes baked into it to start with. If you did that and were always starting your exports at the same bar, it would work fine as well. So those are considerations, and this is the procedure. You set up your cycle or your export range, however it works for your door. Then mute the unwanted tracks you don't want. Export the track as you would do for a normal stem, and then send it to your collaborator. Let's have a quick look at what that actually looks like in practice in Logic. So if I've got this project here, for example, I would not start it here because that's not the start of an exact bar. I would either start it at bar 2 or bar 1, and we would all agree an end bar. Don't end it where you see the tracks end, because if you've got an effect on any of these, it's going to ring out. Probably safe to leave, say, 3 bars at the end. Once you've got this cycle range or export range set up for you to work with, I would not move this while you're then working in the project. Just leave it as it is. In Logic, you can just click C to turn it on and off. So leave it off until you're ready to export, and then turn it on. And I would go through and I would mute everything except, say, the horns. I would come down to my bounce button here, and we can see WAV 24-bit 48. We've already agreed that, and I would click OK, and out would come my stem of the horns, which I could send off to somebody else. On the receiving end, what you will get is a folder with different stems in from your collaborator. You look at the size, and hopefully they are all exactly the same, indicating that they have done this cycle range block, and you literally could drag this in. Now we're going to create new tracks for each one. Okay, the project that was actually sent there is the wrong sample rate for this project. So that was at 44.1. But as you can see, I can click to convert. And everything has lined up. So even if some of these tracks don't have anything in until much later, you are bouncing the entire length, because then me as the receiving party do not need to go through and line up all the different tracks. You just bring them all in at the same bar that you agreed to start with. Job done. So if we go back to the procedure, you set your cycle or export range, you mute the unwanted tracks, you export it as you would do normally, and then send it to your collaborators. Remembering to have agreed the sample rate, BPM, time signature, and starting bar before you begin. And if you are going to change tempo or time signature, you're going to need to have some sort of template DAW project with those baked in to start with. I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.